So good morning, everyone. So same as usual, before we start our morning section, so we take a meditation. We meditation, silence meditation, and try to relax our body and mind. Keep our focus on the breath, and try to reconnect to our inner aspirations, deeper inner aspirations. So we keep focus on the breath and try to get our mind calmer and free of disturbance. Okay, so we keep going and staying in this state of the peaceful and harmony. So continuously I'm going to recite Heart Sutra in the Tibetan. In the Upper Tibetan, we will recite in English. 니게다기 도바 대주나 주는데 예보고 저 공부를 하게 동이 근데 전부다 신주선배 근데 전부다 답주도 시대 대세 주는데 서면나 시절 주제 남자지 당연히 남이 뭘 수도 양한테 대세 주서 무슨 말씀 뭐 어제에서 먼저 시절에 빠르도 좀 먼저 많이 나는 거다. 어머가 어디다가 이제 예동만은 못 하고 되는 성격이 뒤에서 나는 거 시절에 그 신주서 무슨 말씀 뭐 어제에서 먼저 되게 되면서 리기 보관하나 시절에 빠르도 좀 먼저 버텨버도 버티다 나와서 되게 되면 뭐다 신주서 무슨 말씀 뭐 어제에서 먼저 있어 나는 거 시절에 되게 되면서 제리보 뭐가나 시절에 버리듯이 좀 삼매 저버도 버티다는 것도 와지도 구멍 못다 얘기 동만은 뭐 양다 와지도 수동보 동만이 수수대 동만이 정말 동만이래 예수님만이 나듯이도 소화도 되시도 남아 시간은 동보 시절에고 다쳐도 동만이 스님이 뭐 예고 뭔가 어쩌면 다 저거 뭐 가면 뭐 시절에 보다면 동만이나 소매 소화면 되지면 남아 시간이 나오면 남에 레베이 소매 되면 로메를 제면 미기 가면 이 넘버시로 감기 받아야면도 말이 보면 많이 봐서 보면 많은 것이 몇 것이 서로 받아야면도 대신도 동영어도 공중어도 받아라면 시면 받아봐야면도 제로부터 다음에 주스만도 도와면 시럽이 바로도 심마다 되는 선나지 보면 이제 저번에 시기도 신도는 양을 되고 따라서 대선 넘버시로 생각하면 시럽이 바로도 심마다 되는 나는 뭐 양다고做的觉得我做상황이 좋다면 시럽이 바로도 심마 뭐 지금 뭐 나는 뭐 민영마다 민영마 년마다 년마다 몇 가지로 시월치는 거 미지번은 되면 시월치도 시럽이 바로 되시면 거 뭐다 더 뭐가 되가 para samgade budi so wa shere wo ju sama sama la shere ji pare de chuma sama la la so tene ju de ting sele shin ju sama sama ju ko wa chen so kon ju de so ji ja wa chen de so le de ri ju de shin ri ju de shin ji de ju de ma de shin de shere ji pare de chuma sama la ja wa shin de shin wa de so ya ro ju de 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 ge ga de so la wo shere de bo ju sama sama ju ko wa chen so kon ju de de me ko de ta da mi da ma yi 그래서 주비지대이라는 좀 내내 송보다 뭐 말도 또 따야 다 엄마가 되가데 빠라가데 빠라 삼가데 부디서 보고 군조스니까 이 메도 이체 뭐가 이제 뭐지 여러 제작이 발전미디도 좋다든지 신규구를 위해서 아기리 동라지 주셔와다 만드는 백견다 저와다 팀벌을 계속 소유를 다시 대장한테 엘레쇼 오케이 Okay, so I'm going to recite. We'll recite together a Heart Sutra. So meanwhile, recite. Imagine the presence of all the sublime wisdoms. Through the presence of all the sublime wisdoms, and we will overcome all our obscuration of ignorance. Thus have I heard at one time the Lord was dwelling at the Rajgriha on Vulture Peak Mountain, together with a great host of monks and a great host of bodhisattva. At that time, the Lord was composed in the concentration on the course of Dharma, called profound illumination. At that time, also the noble Lord Avalokita, the bodhisattva and mahasattva, in the practice of the profound perfection of wisdom, looked down. He beheld but 5 skandhas, and that in their own being they were empty. Then, through the inspiration of the Buddha, the Venerable Shariputra said to the noble Lord Avalokita, the bodhisattva and the mahasattva, how should any child of good family train who wishes to engage in the practice of the profound perfection of wisdom? And the noble Lord Avalokita, the bodhisattva and the mahasattva, spoke to the Venerable Shariputra as follows. Shariputra, any son or daughter of a good family who wishes to engage in the practice of the profound perfection of wisdom should look upon it thus: he or she beholds but 5 skandhas, and that in their own being they are empty. Form is empty, emptiness is form. Emptiness does not differ from form, and form does not differ from emptiness. Likewise, feelings, recognitions, volitions, and consciousness are empty. So, Shariputra, all dharmas are emptiness without differentiating marks. They are not produced or stopped, not defiled and not immaculate, not deficient and not complete. Therefore, Shariputra, in emptiness there is no form, no feelings, no recognitions, no volitions, no consciousness, no eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, no visible form, no sound, no smell, no taste, no tangible, no mental object, no I element, and so forth, up to no mind element and no mental consciousness element, no ignorance and no extinction of ignorance, and so forth, up to no aging and death and no extinction of aging and death. Likewise, there is no suffering, origin, cessation, or path, no wisdom, knowledge, and no attainment and non-attainment. Therefore, Shariputra, because there is no attainment, bodhisattva abide relying on the perfection of wisdom without obscurations of thought, and so are unafraid, transcending perverted views. They attain the end nirvana, all Buddhas existing in the 3 times, relying on the perfection of wisdom, fully awakened to the highest perfect enlightenment. Therefore, one should know that the mantra of the perfection of wisdom is the mantra of great knowledge, the highest mantra, the unequaled mantra, the mantra that allies all suffering, the truth since it has nothing wrong. The mantra of the perfection of wisdom is proclaimed. Tayatha om gate gate paragate parasamgate bodhisoha. In this way, Shariputra should have bodhisattva and mahasattva trained in the profound perfection of wisdom. Then the Lord rose from that concentration and commended the noble Lord Avalokita, the bodhisattva and mahasattva, saying, well said, O son of good family, so it is. O son of good family, so it is. Just as you have taught, should the profound perfection of wisdom be practiced, and the Tathagatas will rejoice. Thus spoke the Lord, the Venerable Shariputra, the noble Lord Avalokita, the Bodhisattva and the Mahasattva, and the whole world, that assembly with the Devas, human beings, Asuras and Gandharvas, were delighted and applauded the Lord's speech. I prostrate to the gathering of the Dakinis of the 3 places, coming from the supreme holy side of the Kechut Pure Land, who have powers of clairvoyance and a magical emanation, and regard practitioner as their children. Akasamaraza Shadara Samara Yape, Akasamaraza Shadara Samara Yape, Akasamaraza Shadara Samara Yape, Tayata Omokate Gate Paragate, Parasamgate Bodhiso, Tayata Omokate Gate Paragate, Parasamgate Bodhiso, Tayata Omokate Gate Paragate, Parasamgate Bodhiso. Through the power of the great truth of the words of the exalted three jewels, may all adverse conditions be overcome. May they become non-existent. May they be pacified. May all evils such as enemies, obstacles, hindrances, and adverse conditions be pacified. Shanti Guru so may the 80,000 types of obstacles be pacified. May we be separated from adverse, harmful conditions. May everything conducive be obtained and be the auspiciousness of everything good. May there be excellent happiness here and now. Okay, so after the Heart Sutra, so we will recite the generate the mind, taking refuge and generate the mind of bodhicitta. So before we take a refuge, we should generate generate the mind of liberation. Mind of liberation. So through our mind of liberations, we we take refuge. We initiate our the path of liberations. So initiate the path of liberation. We should through our devotions we believe in three jewels. So we believe totally in three jewels. Three jewels have enough capacity to liberate us from all the sufferings. Our motivation or intention to liberate from samsara or suffering is sake of all sentient beings. For the sake of all sentient beings, so we should achieve the state of enlightenment. Through those minds, through those perceptions, so we should recite the verses of refuge and generate the mind of bodhicitta. Sa ye che na ye zo ye chana ma ye la ye chan ju par du da ne gyab su che da ye chu jin ye be ye zo na ma ye ro la ye pen che re san ye an ru ba re sho. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha by the virtuous merit created by listening to the Dharma. May I attain the state of a Buddha in order to benefit all beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By the virtuous merit created by listening to the Dharma, may I attain the state of a Buddha in order to benefit all beings. So as usual, before we continue the teaching, we should offer the mandala to all the lineage of the Gurus and all the our root Gurus to transmit us the lineage of transmit us the lineage of the wisdom. Through those lineage of wisdom, we overcome all our the force of ignorance. So Okay, so after finishing our recitations, the prayers, so whatever posture that you feel comfortable, so keep in those posture. So we reflect a little bit on the next teachings. So as our current situation is like as the Shantideva said, so current situation is Shantideva said, we all have a mind to liberate all the sufferings. We have an intention to get rid of the suffering or to release us from the suffering. We have a mind to, we have an intention. But we, each and every time, we run toward the state of the suffering. We are running, after the suffering all the time. Even we desire to achieve the state of happiness, state of peace, state of the, we are desire to awaken the sublime wisdoms and achieving the state of happiness. But all the time we get away from the state of happiness, and we destroying each and every moment the cause of the sufferings. It is like some kind of paradox. We wish something and we do the opposite side. This is how our current situations. Why it happens with us? It happens like this with us because our lack of the wisdoms, lack of the understanding of the Dharma, the reality, and we are not, we don't have enough wisdom to how to accumulate the cause of of happiness, and we don't know how to get rid from the suffering and how to release our state of sufferings. So that's why this is our situation, these current situations. So that's why we follow the state of the Dharma, to that we can learn to how we can learn how to behave correctly, how to keep our mind correctly, and that we become a more that we can behave ourselves more correctly and more coherently. So that's why we follow the Mahayana instructions. We are following the Mahayana instructions because we are a follower of the Mahayana teaching, and we are follower of the Buddha. So we follow the Mahayana instructions. So before we follow the Mahayana instructions, we need to develop our correct attitude, mental attitude, and we need to cultivate the correct mental attitude as a bodhisattva. We need to learn how to cultivate the mind of the bodhisattva, the mind of the bodhicitta, or cultivate the bodhicitta or mind of the bodhisattva, because we admire the life of the bodhisattva, because this is the only life which we can accumulate good deeds, and which we can accumulate, which we can create constructive manners. So we all admire the bodhisattva. So if we admire the bodhisattva, we should develop the mind of the bodhisattvas. So meanwhile, the mind of bodhisattva, the actual mind of the bodhisattva is mind beyond the mind which is connected with the non-duality mind. So when we develop the non-duality mind, we need to go beyond the good and bad. So we just developed all our mental attitude as grateful, as thankful, as fully state of love and compassion. So when we try to develop the mind fully, beyond good and bad, and fully, only the presence of love and compassion. So we should thankful in every situations. We should grateful to every situations. It doesn't matter whether it is, desirable or it's not desirable. We should keep our mind always in the state of thankful. I should thank every situations. As long as you keep the state of the grateful mind, you will feel less ungrateful. So it's not that easy task, because right now our current situation of the mind is the mind of mind which is related with the duality mind, good and bad, desire and undesire, and attachment and aversion. It's a very so that's why we have some challenges while we try to develop the thankful mind or grateful mind. So the second step is we should whatever it happens, why it happens, because most of the time our emotions are injured and our feelings are hurted. Because our emotions are injured. Why? Because our emotion is dominated by the decisive mind or deluded mind. Deluded minds are harmful emotions. So those emotions always injure our emotions. Our state of love, it's injured by our own attachment. The attachment, our emotions injured, like the hatred, etc. Then our feelings, because we want something and we don't get it, the things that we wanted. We are expectation, because of the expectations. We expected so much, and we deposit all our belief in the object of the attractions. So the object of the attraction itself, it's a impermanence. So if we see something and the reality, it manifests the different aspects. So because of all those the things it happened with us, so our emotions are injured and our feelings are hurted. So that's why, first of all, we need to learn how to forgive and how to cure our hurt feelings and injured emotions. We need to cure those. The best way to cure our emotions are developing our power of the forgiveness. We need to forgive all those emotions which is hurted. We need to forgive. If you don't forgive, then we're keeping, we're grabbing all those hurt, all those pain, and all those. As long as we grab the pain, we feel our feelings are hurted. So that's why the power of the forgiveness is the best way to cure our emotions and our feelings. So the forgiveness actually the Tibetan word, the forgiveness, is gongta. Usually the colloquial word is gongta. Gongta means it's like it's kind of asking, please, I ask you to liberate all your, it's gongvata. It's like I'm asking you to liberate all your the pain which is holding in your mind. It means the forgiveness. Forgive. I ask you the forgiveness. I ask you pardon. It's gongta gongvatava. It's like please, I ask you to liberate your all those disturbance thoughts which you are holding it. It means the forgiveness. So forgiveness actually is not a the kind of that favor that you are doing to others. Actually, the forgiveness is the how to cure your emotions and how to cure your feelings. So forgiveness is not that easy task as ordinary beings, because we are so get used to grabbing whatever it comes with us, whatever it comes in us, we grab all the time, grab all the time, and we are so holding all the time. As long as we hold, so we we feel like we are in constipations, right? Imagine you each and every day we consume, and then we never release, right? So if it keeps it in our belly, so it will be constipated, like it's all the time, So all the samsaric beings, why we are all the samsarics, the major problem of the samsaric, we don't know how to release, so that's why we are constipated. So that's why we suffer with pain, so it doesn't matter whether it's good or bad. We need to release it, we need to liberate, we need to be free. So instead of holding it in, so if you don't release every morning, so it's a problem. It's very hard to stay calmly during the day. So even physically. So our mind is very because of our grasping or grabbing, our mind is concentrated now. So that's why we should release it. It doesn't matter, we should release. We need to know how to release it, how to liberate all those thoughts related to the expectations, emotions, conflict. Because as long as we keep it, it makes us feel like painful feelings. So that's why the releasing is the very. Once you release, we have a better capacity to cure our emotions. Once we cure our emotions, we are easier to thank grateful toward toward life, toward all those beings who are next to us, whatever it happens. Then, and once we have we know how to thanks to the others, then it's easy to develop the state of love. It's easy to keep our love, unconditional love, and love beyond the good and bad. So all these factors make us easy to develop the real genuine mind of the bodhicitta. Genuine mind of the bodhicitta. It's until we are not developed the genuine mind of bodhicitta, so our mind is trained to be disturbed. When our mind is disturbed, we have more challenging. We face more challenges to develop the mind of bodhicitta. So that's why at the time of developing the mind of bodhicitta, we should generate the genuine compassion. So feeling the compassion. So genuine develop the genuine compassion. So we should instead of grabbing all those emotions which are hurted, so we have a more difficult to develop the genuine mind of the bodhicitta or genuine compassion. So once we develop, we are capable to develop the compassion. So life gets much more easier. So we become a more resilience, more less resentment, more resilience. So our element transform. We are not that sensitive. We are sensitive because of our egoistic mind. As long as we create our ego, it's a big. So it's very hard to leave harmony. Always hitting each other. We become more sensitive, and because of those sensitive feelings, so we become less resilient. Then if we become less resilient, we become more fragile, easy to break us, and so we become much more we face the great pain and suffering. So that's why the state of the resilience, even we even we are facing full of suffering. So if we are not a resilience, so we can't meditate bodhicitta. If we are not capable to meditate bodhicitta and genuine compassion, we are not. We don't have enough capacity to meditate in Tonglen. So Tonglen is a very great meditation. So if we meditate in Tonglen, so we will achieve a state of enlightenment much more easier and quicker. So that's why there is a story based on two yogis. There are two yogis, and decided to take some retreat, solitary retreat. Before they take the solitary retreat, so there is one group of demon, or the force of interferences, adversities. Those adversities, right? The force of interferences. They wanted to, interference their process of the meditations. Those the group of those, the leader of that demon group sent two young demon to interfere the process of the retreat of those two yogis. Then one demon went to the first yogi, and he planted next to the cave. There's one barley seeds. In Tibet they consume barley. The barley seeds, they planted the barley seeds. Through their, the interference forces, through their, power of the demon. The next day, that plant of the barley plant was growing very well. It's with full of grain, nice grain. And the yogi, he distracted when he saw the plant, and he thought, wow, this land, the plot, is a very fertilized.
Very fertile.
Very fertile.
Right.
If he planted more barley, he can earn more money. He can sell, and he can have a nice tsampa, because the tsampa is so demanded. And so, then he went back to the village, and he bought a few, grain of the seeds of the barley, and he planted. Then they are growing very well, because they are, the demons, they have their own power. They can manipulate even the power of the, malicious, power of the hatred, power of the, ignorance. They have their own power. So they developed well, and he was so distracted. Then he stopped to, he interfered his process of the meditation and retreat, and he went back and he planted. He sooner and soon he became who delivered the barley, and he became a businessman. He become a businessman, and he was so distracted with all those, sensorial objects, the counting money, the money is, how to sell, where, and, then all the time he was thinking, materialistic benefit. So next demon, he went to the next yogi, the yogi. Fortunately, yogi was meditating on Tonglen through the breath meditations. He breathed in, taking all the suffering from all the sentient beings, Then, liberate all those pain and suffering which are, facing all the sentient beings, liberating. And when he breathed out, he gave all his merit, root of merit, which is happiness, love, and he give and think all the sentient beings receive all those blessings, happiness, and all the sentient beings keeping developing their state of happiness. Then the world becomes more harmony. It's the place, etc. Meditate on Tonglen, the breathe in, taking all the sufferings, breathe out, giving all the happiness, all happiness. So then the demon thought, wow, this yogi is so strange yogi, and he was so anxious to keep the sufferings. He was so how to say, he likes sufferings. He's kind of like masochist, or how to say, a person who enjoy the pain.
Right.
It's masochist or submissive, or what's it? Anyhow, so he thought he loves suffering, and he thought that the demon thought that yogi hates the happiness. So that's why he are taking out happiness. He are liberating his state of happiness. So that's why he's giving to the others. Usually people, we do this, right? What we don't like it, we throw it out. What we like it, actually we keep it. So the demon thought that he likes suffering and he doesn't like happiness. So then the only way to interference his process, and then all the suffering that the yogi take them from the other sentient beings. The demon trying to take it out from him, trying to take it out, all the suffering which yogi accumulate. So demon trying to take it out, all the happiness that which yogi trying to give. So the demon trying to offer all his happiness to the yogi. This is the way that he thought that, he's going to suffer a lot because he is going to accumulate a lot of happiness. The happiness, he doesn't like it. This is what the demon thought. So the demon, he was trying to, this is how he thinks this is the only way to interfere his process of meditations.
Right.
But actually, it's that he was doing also, like a Tonglen practice. So then after some time, they need to report, to his leader, his boss, what he does, all those, project that they received, they need to inform. Then they're back to the group of demon, and the first demon said, my yogi is no more yogi, he become a businessman, he's dealing with, all day dealing with barley seeds, plantations, etc. Then trying to hire more land, etc. is no more. So it's become he become totally mundane life. So the demon said, "Wow, you did a good project." So he promote now he can director of a small group. He become a executive director, executive director, and he become a leader of a small group. Then the second demon, he said, "What did you do?" And he said, "No, I did a lot of good things because I interfered at the process of his meditation because I did Tonglen." How it happened? The demon, he never heard this word Tonglen, and said, "I always trying to take it out, the suffering from the yogi, and I always give him my happiness because." So then demon said, "Oh, this is not a project related with the demon company or demon group. Demons, they always create more sufferings. As a demon, they can't create and they can't promote happiness. It's against their philosophy, against their religion, against their principle. So as a demon, you should create more suffering, more conflict, more problems. So you are not creating any suffering. So you are no more demons. You should go away from this. This group. So he left. He left because they fired.
He was fired.
The next demon was fired. Then he went to the yogi and said, because of you, now my demon group fired me and they kicked me out. So now you should, teach me how to practice. And the yogi is, of course, he's a very qualified yogi, and he teach how to practice, how to generate the mind of bodhicitta, and how to overcome those, all the hurt feelings, emotion, injured emotions. He cured totally all his emotion, and he achieved the state of enlightenment, Buddhahood. So that's why it doesn't matter whosoever, whether it's a demon, or whether it's a human. We all have seeds of Buddha. We all have a Buddha seeds. If we cultivate well, sooner or later it's going to growing. So that's why there is no reason to think, and there is no justification that how difficult it is. It's just excuse to we keep staying in the state of the sufferings. We don't, in deep of our heart, we are not willing to liberate from the sufferings. Even we say, I don't want a suffering. So that's why. All those practice, even it appears us as a little difficult, but this difficult, it's a worthwhile to face it, because because all those the difficult which we are facing, meanwhile we are in the path, there's a limited difficulties. It's not unlimited. Because all the difficulty which we face in samsara, it's unlimited. It's keep continuously make us more difficult and make us suffering. So all those pain which we face, meanwhile we are they are limited pain. So sooner or later it's going to we are going to overcome the pain. So same as if we are diagnosed with some kind of disease. So some disease is a serious disease. If we don't cure, if we don't go to the doctor, this disease is going to kill us. So when we go to the doctor recommend us to do some surgery, because this is a therapy, is a different therapy, surgeries. So the practice of the surgery, the surgery itself is painful, but it's a part of our state of cure. It's a part of the relieving the pain. So we accepted all those uncomfortable situations. We accept it, and we happily accept it, because we think that I'm going to recover my health. So all those, practice, Buddha recommend us the practice of the release, practice of the forgiveness, practice of the, be happy all the time, etc. It's not that easy for us, because we are not get used to it. We are not get used to it, and we are so, so habitualized to being, living this state. So that's why we think that it's difficult, but actually these are not difficult, because it's the part of our own health. So that we accept it. So same as we accepted, all those difficulty, all those challenges, all the challenging, we need to accept. As soon as we accept those challenges, So it's not more, challenge for us. It's not much. So once we get used to it, then there is no more difficult, uncomfortable. So it depends on the habit. Right? When we have our practices become our habit, so there's no any. It doesn't need any effort. It comes, spontaneously. It comes out spontaneously, and it comes out, automatically, spontaneously. So that's why it's like our mind and body becomes more flexible and more ecstasis. There's no any. So that's why once we develop our shamatha, or the calm, abiding mind, that mind become so well centered and so flexible. So through this mind, once we are so well focused, our body follow the mind. The body doesn't feel any tiredness. It happens with the when you are so entertained with something which you like it. You don't feel the tiredness even you playing day and night. But our body resists. You don't feel it, even your body, it resists. So so that's why there is no any reason to feel the pain. Right? So because we purify all our bad deeds, and then we accumulate all the time, state of happiness. So there is no reason to be unhappy. So if you are happy, your mind is keep staying happy, and then you accumulate the good deeds, and you accumulate the merit. So the result of the merit is keep staying in the state of happiness. So why we are anxious to, there is no reason to feel anxiety or anxious and stress. The function of the state stress is where there is some danger. So the practice make our life more secure and more stable. So there is no reason to feel anxious and feel stress. So that's why as soon as we accumulate the merit give us the wealth, wealth of physical wealth and spiritual wealth. So that's if we our life becomes more prosperity. If you have a prosperity life, so meanwhile we are in the samsara, our life become much more easier because of the prosperity. So that's why if we live in the samsara through the power of the compassion, so there is no reason to feel ungrateful, and there is no reason to feel anxious and ungrateful. So that's why in the Chanchu passages, developing continuously developing the mind of bodhicitta, that the power of the bodhicitta purifying all our obscurations mind and accumulated the innumerous uncountable merit. Then we are purifying our obscurations and accumulating the uncountable merit. So the state of the Buddhahood is much more closer. State of the Buddhahood is much more closer. So that's why. So if we live, if we learn, meanwhile we are in the samsara, we live through the power of compassion. So we overcome all the state of anxious and sadness and the state of unhappiness. So, and like riding, we are like if we are riding the horse of the bodhicitta, and running toward the state of the Buddhahood. So there is no reason to feel unhappiness and ungrateful. So that's why this is how we, how we cultivate our mind as a follower of the Mahayana follower, because we are following the Mahayana instructions. So yesterday we talked to all those instructions which belong to the Mahayana instruction, the 10 classes of Mahayana instructions. And when you talk about the 10 classes of Mahayana instructions, so like 10 Mahayana instructions are like like instruction related with the true truths, instruction related with the 4 noble truths, instruction related with the refuge, instruction related with the those there are 3 kind of how to say practice which is related with the efforts, which is related with intuition, right? Effort. Because every effort, it's an antidote of 3, I would say, interference, or 3 state of laziness. 3 state of laziness that usually we call lazy, right? Like so the first lazy is a lazy of distractions. Second lazy is a lazy of postpone. The third lazy is a lazy of how to say, not believing in ourselves. It's like we underestimate. So these are 3 most obstacle for developing our practice. So against these 3, it's the first antidote is the first, how to say, effort. How to say, the effort, yes, effort against the distractions. We need to well-centered, and then the second. Second effort is the effort which is antidote again the postpone. We need to do through the power of impermanence, through the power of compassion. We need to do all the practice time to time. There is no reason to postpone. If we postpone, we don't know who is going to come first, our death or our practice. So we need to do be in the presence each and every time. So the third one is we don't need to underestimate ourselves. We need to yongzin. Yongzin means tutor. Actually, tutor means yongsu zimba itself. Yongsu zimba. Yong literally it means all. Yong is all. Zin is holding. It means holding all qualities. Holding the all quality. How we can holding the all quality through our all the quality it coming. It's it coming from our tutor. So tutor, there is a kind of external tutor. External tutor help us to keep straight in our path. So the inner tutor, it's like compassion and love and wisdoms keep us free of those destructive emotions, attachment, ignorance, and hatred. The sacred sacred tutor is those channels. If we know how to dominate our channels energies, those channels and energy flows better. Once it flows better, then the mind and energy is interdependent. When the energy flows well, the minds become more clear. So that's why it's talking about the tutor Yongzin. After this, there's five kinds of eyes, you need to 6 kind of clairvoyance. Then the instruction related with the vision, related with the meditation. So these are usually they call it 10 instruction of Maya. So once we developed our correct mental attitude, so we are easy to follow the instructions. If we follow the instructions, then we become certified, or we become an instructor. So we become instructor means we become Buddha, state of the Buddhahood. The Buddha instructor. Buddha is actually is instructor. They instruct us how to get rid of the suffering. So the main objective or main goal of the Buddha, it's how to instruct the others, that others can liberate from the sufferings. So once we are willing to liberate from suffering, so we need to know what is suffering. We need to take consciousness of the suffering. If we don't take consciousness, right? If we don't concern, or we don't take consciousness, the suffering become a destiny. If we ignore the suffering become a destiny, and then suffering subdue us. So if you want to liberate from the suffering, if you don't want the suffering subdue you, so we should concern, and we should know what is suffering. As soon as you know the suffering, the reality of suffering, the suffering is going to become a destiny. Suffering going to dissolve, and so it's same as long as you concern your disease, you have a more possibility to recover your health. If you are not concerned your disease, and if you ignore the disease, and you're trying to escape the disease from the disease, and I'm trying to ignore the disease, it's the disease makes you more pain. Disease become more stronger, and it's become chronic. It become a chronic. Once it's become a chronic, then there's no chance to cure it. There is no chance to cure it, etc. So that's why. So Buddha, the main message of Buddha and his is get rid of suffering. How to get rid of suffering? Because suffering is something which we don't aspirate or desire. So that's why his teaching, his first teaching, is based on 4 Noble Truths. The 4 Noble Truths is the teaching which is related with as a basic, it's a foundation. It's like the foundation of the teaching. We must know. It doesn't matter whether you are monk or lay. All the practitioner, all practitioner who follows the Buddha Dharma, the Buddhist teaching, we should know what is the 4 Noble Truths, or what is the reason behind this, this teaching. So that's why so Buddha, he gave the first teaching, teaching of the Four Noble Truths. So Four Noble Truths, it's related with the all type of teaching. So yesterday I also mentioned all the teaching, which is the Buddhist teaching, the Buddha Dharma. The Buddha Dharma is like a square of cloth. It's like a square of cloth, or what's it? It's cloth, right? Yeah. If this, what does it mean? The square of the Buddha Dharma is like a square of cloth. What does it mean? It means whichever direction of the cloth, if you throw or if you have to pull it, it moved all the clothes. It's like this is a square shape of tablecloth, right? Yeah. It's a square shape of tablecloth. If I moved the left side of the tablecloth, it moved also the right side of the tablecloth. If I moved the left side of the tablecloth, it also moved the east side of the tablecloth. So it's like a Buddha Dharma is like this. If we talk about the refuge, somehow we need to develop the general idea of the Buddha. When we talk about the true truth, also we learn the general idea of the Buddha. When we talk about the Four Noble Truths, also we need to take our general idea of the Buddha. So like talking about the three refuge. So refuge, like when we talk about the Buddha, we must talk about the Dharma. When we talk about the Dharma, we must talk about the Sangha. Otherwise, we can't. So that's we can't avoid talking about Dharma without mentioning the three trainings and three Vitakas, like a concentration, ethic, discipline, the wisdoms. So we need to, once we learn the knowledge which is related with the three jewels, Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, you have a general idea of all the Buddha's teaching. So that's why it's the teaching itself. There is no any higher and lower. All the teachings are equal. All the teachings are equal qualified or are equal valuable. Respectful or respected. All the teachings, but sometimes we humans, we like to make we are so classist, or we like to make a inferior, intermediate, or higher, because our mind is so interested mind, and egoistic mind, and conditioned mind. So we are more, our mind is contaminated with the anxious and desire, so, and discriminations. We are, somehow we are, we all have a tendency of discriminations, racism, etc. We like to have because our mind moved between good and bad, because of our mind is duality. So duality minded is not it's equilibrium minded, right. It's balance minded. So it's always create the conflict. It's always create the it's trying to find the contradictory instead of trying to find the harmony and
so because
yeah,
because the duality mind would actually view the things in contradiction, right?
Yeah, it's make so. Yes, duality mind is a more contradiction mind. If there is a contradictory, we feel like we feel more stimulated. We feel more
alive. So we can chase.
Yeah. Morbidity. It's called morbidity in English. It's in Spanish called morbo. It's like give us more stimulations. So if it's something. Sometimes it's I notice, where there is more how to say
Conflict.
conflict
Uh-huh.
or it's
Urgency?
no, it is English. Controversial.
Yeah. We love controversy.
Yeah, we love controversial. So sometimes, and controversial, how to say, I feel like where there's controversial, it attracts more the people.
Yes.
So controversial teachers attract more students.
Yes, the controversial president attracts more votes.
Yeah. So it's I mean like then the it's how to say I think we are so those controversial, so give them a more how to say more familiar, maybe because of controversy. So that's why the controversial people attract more followers and more. So the controversial teachings also, I think, attract more students. So this is and the teaching sometimes is related with the harmony and complementary. Sometimes people feel bored. It's like it's cliche. It's usual, It's this is what the people always say.
Right.
Always saying. So we are so how to say keen to find novelty, the news. It's something because we are so stimulations sometimes, and the end they fall again in the conflict. They fall again in the suffering, and they just it's a circling the it's a circling of the sufferings. So it's sometime and the secretism, that the group, the secretism, the segregation, the divisions, feel more protected. Oh, I belong to this group. Then I must, hate the other group. Then I'm not supposed to relate it with the other group. If I relate it with the other group, I'm, how to say, betraying my own group. So that's why we are grabbing, holding. So it's I think it's a human mentality or tendency. Sometimes it happens, not always. It's not always, but anyway. So that's why it's what we are talking. Why we are.
We're talking about duality now.
Duality, because of the duality. Yes. Duality, and then non-duality mind create the equilibrium and equanimity. So equanimity, sometimes we feel boring. Go beyond the good and bad. It's how to say? It's less. How to say? Less entertained. It's boring. It's like an obstruct mind. It's much more. All the time, we are in state of let the mind flow and let the mind arise. We should block. We block. Sometimes it happens. So that's why it's the blocked mind is obscuration mind. It's a mind which trained to create more sufferings. Anyhow, so this is sometimes it happens. So we say, and we are longing to the peace, but actually we are not, how to say, interested in peace. We are not interested in peace. So peace and love. So if so it's the it's again the system based on war and conflict. if there is no war and conflict, if everyone is peace and love, so how to say, there is no economic development. There is no economic development. So usually, like how to say, pandemic and war are the time where they can make more money. Actually, it's history, the old history. It happens like this, right? So they make a pandemic and they make a war and they make a fortune. They make a money.
Yeah.
At the end, it's generally so. Usually, they are talking about peace and love, but they are not interested in peace and love. What they interested in conflict and sufferings, creating suffering, unfortunately. But this is how world function. But we are not a follower of the worldly. We are the follower of the how to say. We are trying to transcend the worldly thoughts or worldly, the mundane. We don't want to be mundane.
Right.
We are trying to, liberate from the state of the mundane, because the mundane always create. That's why. So as a mundane, so we like controversies. We attract the controversies, not like, but attract. We are so trapped with the controversies. So that's why we follow the controversial. So that's why controversial president. How to say, gain the more votes.
Yeah.
Generally, so that's what it is. Why? It's because of the duality mind. Duality mind is a discriminative mind. Discriminative mind. It's not a lack of kindness. So that's why. So we need to, first of all, we need to know, we need to talk. We need to know what is the suffering, and so that's why the Buddha his teaching was Four Noble Truths. The Four Noble Truths is the Noble Truth of suffering, Noble Truth of origin, and the Noble Truth of cessation, and Noble Truth of path. So as a Buddhist follower, so our teacher, the Buddha, he renounced his kingdom, or he's renounced his his palace, and went through the ascetic practice. He renounced his family, and he actually renounce means like the mind of the liberations. Actually, renounce means the mind of liberation, because if you don't develop the mind of liberation, we are not achieve the liberations. The liberation and develop the mind of liberation. We need to know what is suffering. What is suffering? If we don't know what is suffering, we don't know how to generate the mind of liberation. If we don't generate the mind of liberation, we are not achieving the liberation. Even we make value, and we are how to say desire to. So that's why these days, all the time, we're all talking about the liberations. I want to be liberate. I want to be free. But we are not interested to be free, because we are so good to grab all the time. As long as you grab, you will have a less independent, you have a less freedom. So, so then Buddha, he developed the mind of liberation, and he went to search the liberation. And finally, he found the state of the liberation. Then after he found the state of liberation, so he turned the wheel of the Dharma. He turned the wheel of Dharma. The first wheel of Dharma is the Four Noble Truths. Usually Mahayana, we believe in three turning of wheel of Dharma. So generally those, Pali traditions, or the Hinayana, usually we call Hinayana, they believe only one, like the first wheel of turning the wheel of Dharma. They don't talking about the second and third. But first, so we after he turned the Denshi Kasa Lensum so he turned the first wheel of Dharma in front of those five first disciples. Turn means like, turn the wheel of Dharma, it means like transferred. It's transferred the knowledge, actually the knowledge of Four Noble Truth. First he transferred the first, senior students, then the next one. So that's why it's called a turn, it's like a turning the wheel of Dharma. It means transfer the knowledge which he gained through his practice. This all knowledge he transfer us. So when we talk about the Four Noble Truth, so he said, he said that you need to abandon the suffering. You need to know what is suffering. Once you know what is suffering, so then you should, abandon the cause of the suffering. Then once you abandon the cause of the suffering, then you realize the cessation. Right? The cessation, cessation, you realize the cessation. You take a realization as a cessation, as a realization. So that's why you should meditate the path. You should meditate the path. So, so until we don't, if you don't abandon the cause of the suffering, you never achieve the state of the liberation. So, for example, the smoke is the cause of your lung disease. Until you quit the smoking, it's not going to cure your lung disease, because this the disease of the lung, it came, right? It came through the it comes through the smoking. So you should quit the smoke. Right? If you once you quit the smoke, you have a possibility to cure your health. You have a possibility to have a healthy lung. So that's why Maitreya, he said, like first you need to diagnose the disease. Once you diagnose the disease, then you should, you should abandon the cause of the disease. Then later you should, accept the remedies, the medicines. You should take the medicines. Then once you should take the medicine seriously, you follow the instruction of the doctors, then you will recover the health. So same as, so it's based on common sense. It's based on our it's based on common sense. It's based on how to say, all the human beings can follow these instructions, but sometimes we don't like to. We are not interested to follow the common sense. We want to have we like to have extra common sense, extraordinary common sense. We like to because our mind is trained with Disneyland, a lot of fantasy from the small, a really romantic, romantic mind, and it gives us something which is sensible, common sense, and we say, oh, it's boring. It's so. So actually, it's we need to be sensible, and we need to follow the common sense. The common sense make our mind more stable and more more calmer. But sometimes we like the entertaining, and even though we looking at entertaining in our spiritual path too. A lot of people went to the spiritual world to find a more entertaining, to find a more controversial, more entertaining. Then stuck somewhere. Then at the end, they find themselves belong to nobody. Like they find there's no belong to the mundane, no belong to the spiritual world. Then finally they again trapped in kind of suffering, which is no belong to neither in samsara or nirvana. It's somewhere.
Is it possible, Rinpoche, if samsara and nirvana are the direct opposite, right? Can you stuck somewhere? If it's not nirvana, you're in samsara.
Actually, yes, but but we like to find the third options. We're always searching the third options. It's plan A is not functioning, plan B is not functioning. Then we trying to, because we not belong to such a sometimes unnecessarily. Sometimes it happens. So then we find a crisis in the our mundane world. Then we went to the spiritual path. When we go to the spiritual path, and we create the spiritual crisis. Spiritual crisis, then. So we are going to create the crisis. This is how we, mind train, the tendency, it's all the time. So sometimes it's like this is kind of modern term. I'm in a crisis in the spiritual world. So now I don't want to anymore to practice.
Right.
I'm fed up. I'm in a crisis. So this is I hear through my so I think it's it happens not only these days, but it happens, I think, for many years ago. So that's why there's a saying, those Indian classic practitioner, classic master, used to sarcastic with the Tibetan practitioner. Because the Tibetan practitioner, we like to switch, and we like numbers. We like numbers. We are not much interested in quality. We like numbers, and we like to switch one place to another. So that's why we don't like to focus on the one single deity. So we like to switch the deities and deities again, deities. This time I did the retreat of Tara, then next time I did the Vajrasattva, then the Namgyalma, all the time switching. Then at the end, we never realize even one single deities. So this is what Indian classic master used to criticize. So the Indians classic masters, they just focus on the one single deity, and at the end they achieve all the deities. They do the one retreat and they achieve the enlightenment. So we like numbers, so we do a lot of retreats, a lot of things, but even we do a lot of things, but we are not so close to the enlightenment. So because we love numbers, and this is sometimes it's I think it's a kind of habit. So that's why we like switch, because we don't want to stay in a crisis. So when we feel crisis with the Tara, and then we switch to the Vajrapani. And we switch to the Vajrapani, and it's something. I learn new things. So. Anyway, so this is how how our current situation is like this. So now it's a Dembashi. Now 4 noble truths. So there's a Dembashi. So the 4 noble truths, right? It's a truth belong to the noble beings, not to belong to the ordinary beings. It's noble beings. So that's why it's because we don't see these 4 factors are the truth. We don't see this because the first noble truth. The first noble truth cover all the samsaric circumstances, even though the place and the beings, and all the samsarics are belong to the covered by the noble truth of suffering, and all those samsara itself is belong to the noble truth of the suffering. But it's not a truth for us, because it's not a truth of suffering, because we don't know all the samsara things is a suffering. We don't see the money is a suffering. Money is if somebody says, don't take more money because money makes you suffer. What you are saying? I'm interested in money. I want to have more money, and no one as an employee. Yeah, it's we all know, right? The money don't give us happiness, but we want money. And then also somebody says the money makes you suffer, and try to not interested in money. And it's hard to believe. It's hard to believe if, as an employee, and you say, your boss says, I'm not going to raise your salary because the salary makes you suffer. Because it belongs to the first noble truth, the truth of the suffering. So I'm not going to raise your salary. So all employee may, how to say, strike. We need to raise this, increase our salary because the life is getting expensive. So it's true. But I mean, of course, the lay people. It's true for the. something happening. It's a true. And even in the monastery, when the announcement after gathering, they said, tomorrow you are going to have a big offering. You should all come to the gathering. This is what usually announcement. You are coming from the monastery, so now you all get used to it. It's so all the monks go to the next day prayer because they have 1,000 rupees, some donations. So I mean, it's a reality. The reality we can't, I would say, occult. It happens because it sounds strange, but
Is it possible, Rinpoche? Money gives you suffering, but no money also gives you suffering.
So that's why samsara is belong to the first noble truth.
Right.
It's a samsara. It doesn't matter. So that's why it makes us a little bit strange, right? So I have a money. So the life is suffering. Actually, the samsara is suffering. It's because it's conditioned.
Right.
All the condition subject with the condition.
It's all suffering.
It's a suffering.
Right.
So that's why. But we, as ordinary, it's not true for the ordinary beings, because ordinary beings are so having car, having houses, having family. All this actually belong to the first noble truth. But it's only truth for the noble beings, not the ordinary beings. Because ordinary beings, we don't believe in that.
Right.
So that's why. There is one. So we think that the money is not belong to suffer, because money make our life easier. We don't know actually it's make us easier or make us life difficult. So that's why there is one metaphor. There is one teacher, very high teacher. Just before he died, he said to his who is going to substitute,
His
successor, he gave the one teaching that said, don't let the cat in. Don't let the cat in. So then the master died. So his successor was so confused. What does it mean that don't let the cat in? What does it mean that don't let the cat in? He was reading, finding the lot of texts, but he didn't get anything. And he went to one of his senior colleague of his teacher, and he said, my teacher said, don't let the cat in. So what does it mean? And then his colleague said, oh, this is a big teachings that he wanted to give you. It's a big teaching. It's a really high teaching. So you must learn this. Then he said, wow, can you share this teaching? And then his colleague, the senior colleague of the teacher, he said, yes, because the master used to be a lay person and he renounced the lay mundane world. He went to the retreat in solitary life, and he was meditating. There was one small mouse, and usually used to bite his clothes. His clothes was hole, has a lot of hole, and when he it takes a lot of time to swing. And once he swing, he went to the village to asking the foods. The villagers said, wow, you master, you are great master, you are so good, but your clothes is so broken, it's not good, it makes you sick, etc. And they give him a solution. So, and he said, no, because I'm a yogi and I have a small mouse around his cave, so he can't kill. So. So that's the reason that he has a really, bad clothes. Then the villagers recommend, you take one cat, you adopt one cat. If you adopt the one cat, the cat, I would say, that is like get rid of the mouses. That mouse is not going to make your clothes, destroying the clothes. So then he adopt the cat. Once he adopt the cat, then he need to go to village more time, not only finding the his own food. He need to find the milk for the cat. He go to the milk farm. Then he went more time to the village. The village is not good to all the time come back to the village. It's not good as a yogi, and you adopt the solitary life. You have a renunciation. And then he said, I need to feed my cat. And that's it. I need to find more milk every day. And then they said, okay, now it's good to adopt the one cow. If you have a cow, then you will have a milk. Then they give him a cow, and he adopt the cow. When he has a cow, he need to do more things. He need to do more time because he need to find the things for the cow. And then they said, it's not good. The villagers, then they recommend him to adopt the one girl. There's one widow. It's called widow, right?
Yeah, widow.
Widow, single widow. And then if you adopt her, then he serve you, he cooked you, and he is looking after, cow, cat, and he is going to, cultivate the feed. Then, okay, he adopt the widow. And then he just, first time, at the beginning, he's trying to helping her to cultivate. Then the spring comes, the flowers are there, the weather is nice. Then, it's more romantic, the wind are pleasing. Then at the end, she becomes pregnant. So now imagine she becomes pregnant. So the yogi becomes a father. Yogi becomes a father, then he went back again to the village to take the son to the school. Then all the villagers saying, look at this, losers yogi. Now he make the lady pregnant. Now he has a son, so he take to the schools. So all the villagers are, neglecting him. Oh, this is losers. Apparently he renounced his previous family, and now he makes another family. So he was so confused. He back again. He went to the solitary life. He back again to the mundane life. Why it happens? Because of the cat. Because he let the cat in. He thought that the cat is going to resolve everything. All the problem. But suddenly, at the end, so that's why. So at the beginning, when we think that when we get money, so I will have a less problem. So it not necessarily to, for example, because it's all contaminated and all are diluted. So, but as ordinary beings, it's hard to believe because we are even, of course, a lay person. So, because having houses, having car, having saving, we think it's a part of the happiness. It's not a part of the suffering, the truth of suffering. Right? So that's why we like to have we're willing to have it, but it's so for us it's theoretical, it's not a practical. Theoretically, yes.
So, Rinpoche, I have a question. Okay, so can it be said, having money, it may or may not give you suffering, but not having money will definitely give you suffering.
Not having money, it's giving you. So I think it's depends on the mental attitude. Mental attitude. Happiness is something which is related with our emotion and our mental attitude. Sometimes the divorce makes you more happier than the marriage.
It's true.
So, oh, finally I liberate from that. So actually, so sometime one day, one of my students come to me and he said he wanted to share me one good news and one bad news. And I said, wow, we are in a pandemic, so please share me first the one good news. And he said, I won the lottery. It's a good amount of lottery. Wow, I said, wow, you won the lottery now. It's how admirable, it's hard to get that.
To win, right?
To win the lottery, it's $1 million. That's a nice amount of money. I said, okay, now share me the bad news. And said, I won the lottery. It's a bad news. And I was a bit surprised.
Yeah.
Because I'm the one who believe the money is, I'm the one who is not believing truly that the money is belong to the first noble truth. Even I'm talking about the first noble truth.
Right.
But I'm not believing, myself sometimes if I don't well concerned.
Right.
Because I'm also, a lot of time I do a lot of self-cheating myself. So then I said, oh, it's bad news that you won the lottery? Yes, I'm bad news now, I can't sleep. Because all the time thinking how to invest the money. Because the banks only make a guarantee the amount, certain amount of the money. If he how to say, go those above those certain amount of money, then the bank it's uncertainty too. Because he may lose money, and now he was thinking to how to invest the money, buying the property and go to investment, and he has a lot of difficulty. It's insomnia, because all the time he's thinking about the money. It's a bad news. It's true because he said now he can't practice well, he can't sleep well. He he thinks his life becomes more miserable than before the winning the money, and he can't give because he feels attached to money. So that's why he wants to make more money. So he was thinking to invest. So this is something it's because we are in a duality, and our mind is so stuck between good and bad, and then so it's so, but so it's actual. So I think it's dependent on our mental attitude, how we. So that's why he said he came to me to share the what to do. He was looking for the third option. Third options. So I'm also stuck with somewhere there. We need to win more. And then I asked, how did you win the lottery? And he said every week he spent 10 euros for buy the lottery. And then I tried. But unfortunately, I forgot the lottery. When I go to the lottery, they said this lottery is expired. This number is expired. Then I said, oh. I thought that it's a good strategy. It's good strategy to make more money. Just spending 10 euro per week. It's not that bad. Then I tried a few times, but finally I didn't succeed because I forgot the lottery, to take the lottery to the lottery shop to check the lottery. Then they said, then I stopped buying.
That reminds me, if you allow me to share this. There is a couple in West Virginia. they win mega lottery twice in their lives. We're talking about not 1 million, like hundreds millions of dollars, twice in their lifetimes. And they buy a lottery every day, but when they were interviewed, what they said was that they actually don't care about the amount of the lottery they win. They enjoy the process of buying lottery every day.
This stimulation or excitement that, I mean, like a kind of...
they don't care about the results. They just buy it every day.
It's like gambling, the playing,
right,
they have illusion that, it's true. So there's a study, it's saying this, the people who win, usually people who win the lottery become life more miserable than before they... This is
right.
Yeah, this is
because
also
they're attached to
being in
results.
the result. Yeah. So I heard also a story that one of my students, his wife won a big lottery, his ex-wife. Because of this lottery, now he even debt with those, like it's kind of mafia. And then he was losing her own house. Because he, suddenly they got it and they don't know how to, dealing with the money. And so at the end, I think he helped. He, helped again to, so this is sometimes it happens. So that's, of course, with money. So I think it's how to deal with it. So the mental attitude. If our mind is not well trained with the, so once we, so that's why the Buddha is so wise, said that it's a four noble truth. It's a truth, it's belong to the noble beings. Because noble beings, they know, and they believe, and they, they realize. So that's why Papa Mikdandawi, because they are so sensible, all the samsaric things, it's so, how to say, they are so sensible, so they, closing to the samsaric thing is like a close, something put in your eyes.
Right,
something
you put your own eyes.
Your own eyes, right? It's immediately disturbed. But we are not that sensible. We are like, if it's like hair put on your hand, we don't feel it because we are lack of, the hand is, less sensible than the eyes. The eyes are so sensible. So that's why, and the noble beings always try to release, or always release and all the things which is related with the suffering. So that's why they don't suffer. But we are not that sensible, so we don't mind to grab. Even they belong to sufferings, even there. So that's why, if somebody says the money is suffering, car is suffering, house is suffering, better to leave solidarity, better to leave the renouncance, etc. Oh, it's so hypocritic. It sounds like a hypocritic, and so I think it's related with our own experience and generally. So that's why all the things, all the phenomena which is, samsaric things, it's belong to the First Noble Truth. All are insatiable. Insatiable, and it never give us satisfaction. Reality, it's more. For example, this glass is suffering. It's hard to believe. It's going to make me suffer if I break it. It's going to make a lot of conflict. Oh, this glass is, I don't know, this one will only piece, etc., etc. So, when our car is broke, immediately we feel irritated.
Right.
So if you don't have a car, there is no feeling of irritated related with the car.
Right.
Maybe feeling of irritation related with not having a car if I have a car, but not going to have the irritation of the broken car. So that's why, because the car not give us the fully satisfactions. So once we have a car, it's not enough. So we would love to have a Mercedes. When we have a Mercedes, not enough. We would like to have a Maserati. Maserati is not enough. The collection of etc. The Rolls Royce, etc. It's going to heavens. So that's why these all things are insatiable. So that's why it's belong to the. Why it's insatiable? It's belong to the first noble truth. It's a truth only for the noble beings. So we are way too noble. So that's why we need to get used to it. Oh yeah, even we don't believe, but we need to intellectually.
Intellectually understand.
So. So here's when it's truth related with the noble beings. When we talk about the truth, also there's a truth, and the fourth truth is a little bit different. When we talking about the true truth, is a truth related with the conventional mind and ultimate mind. So here the truth is, which is a reality. It's a way to base on the reality. So that's the truth of suffering is a reality. It's actual reality. It's something so that's why it's. As a samsaric, we are fully dominated by the sufferings. As a samsaric, also is fully dominated by the sufferings, because it's not going to give us the satisfaction. It's belong to insatiable. So that's why it's a true, but true. So that this suffering is caused by delusion and karma. The delusion and karma only sees noble beings sees the delusion and karma make the suffering. But usually ordinary people, we know but we don't realize and attachment. So that's why sometimes as samsari beings, the attachment and desire give us the energy of the life. I met a Tibetan. He was alone, without any family, and he was so depressed for not having family, and he's alone, in a foreign country. After a few years, he fell in love, and he found a girl, and he married, and now he has a family and a son. He's so happy. So happy that, but he walks a lot. During the day he walks in the office, selling, and during the night he walks in the shop, because he need to go after his job with the family, But he was so
he's happy.
He is happy, and he's energetic.
Yeah, energetic.
Energetic, he's overcome his depression.
Right.
Now he is no more alone. He's protected with his family, his own house, his business. All this state of energy become through the attachment. He's so attached to his son. So attached to his son. Every morning the son give him a hug and say, "Father, please taking care of yourself." He kiss, and his heart melt in love. He's so willing to back to home to hug again. It's a desired attachment, right? So as a samsaric, ordinary, we need some time attachment.
Yeah.
it's sometimes it's a resources.
Right. It's called the hormone of, what's that the name of the hormone? Something.
Oxytocin or something.
Right.
Something like, you know, like
Right,
so.
it improves your mood
Yeah.
and help you to be
you have
motivated.
more, you know, like, how to say, illusion or how to say, desire to live more.
Right.
Because I have this, I have family. I need to live for, you know, I need to work for my son. Because there's something,
Yeah.
because of course there's some love and kindness, but our mixed, right, these emotions.
Right.
Emotions. He can work for his own son, but he can't work for the neighbor's son.
Right. Oh, God forbid that.
Yeah, because of the attachment. This is mine. This is belong to me. I do it. So this is. So that's why the attachment and, you know, the karma. It's hard to believe. Caused, you know, it's delusions. Caused, you know, how to say, inequilibrium mind. But this is only belief. Those noble beings. Noble beings, okay, yeah, the attachment created discriminations. They only work for their own family, but they are not capable to work for, you know, the neighbors. So that's why for us, ordinarily, it's also, how to say, our state of love is not well developed. So that's why it happens. So that's why it's not a true truth for us, but we intellectually we know, okay, it's of course if you are, of course we know that being egoistic is not good. We admire the altruist, but in the practice of altruist, we can altruist with our own relatives, with the others we are not. This is also okay. So still we have a time to talking continuously about the noble truths.
Oh, our time's up. I'm sorry.
Time's up.
Now I can't even count time today. Yeah, our time's up.
Our time's up. So today we, the morning section we stop here. I think the question and answer we do afternoon.
Yeah. In the evening, like 7:30.
And 7:30 we have another class
this evening.
Okay. So we stop here. We're offering the mandala as usual we do. Saji peshe joshe mendo tam rani shin de jamba de sangye shin do miten biwai to wenanda shin la cheba chu yedam guru rana mandala kaniyata ya me. So now the dedication of merit. Chanju senjo Rinpoche ma je panam je ju ji jaba nyamba me wa kwame kondo pe wa sho daso jinyi saw video wa de dana ro kona kambe chebar ji no san ta wa iten de ni bo ring se je sho temba ji chogi ma chapja nyamba ju be chod ni ji chambo hira je wa pende den de se wa cheba. Okay, thank you so much for everyone. So see you all